So, this is our series, Presidents and Civil Rights. We've been talking about Reagan. Typically we talk about Black civil rights and occasionally throw in the civil rights of other marginalized groups. But when it comes to Reagan, well, it was everybody. It was everybody. While I was working on Reagan, I think it was around Pride Month, and it was brought to my attention that some of y'all don't know about the gay genocide. And that just blows my mind because some of y'all are gay. Yeah. If you don't know what gay genocide is, well, it's the HIV AIDS epidemic in the 1980s and the silence that came from the United States government, the lack of response from the United States government. And it all happened under Ronald Reagan's watch. Let's talk about it. Although the CDC defined the disease as AIDS in 1982, many researchers opted for GRID, gay-related immune deficiency, to describe the disease, which deepened the public perception that AIDS only infected gay men. Throughout 1982, the increasing spread of AIDS resulted in a total death of 618 Americans. In 1983, there were 2,118 total American deaths from AIDS. By the end of 1984, a total of 5,596 Americans had died from AIDS. In 1985, AIDS became a household name at the forefront of every American's nightmare. There was no inhabited region in the world free from an AIDS infection. By the end of 1985, there were 12,529 reported American deaths. 95.5% of those diagnosed with AIDS between 1981 and 1987 died. 95.5% between 1981 and 1987. Dr. Paul Volberding, a San Francisco medic who helped to set up America's first hospital inpatient ward for AIDS sufferers, recalled to The Guardian in 2016. This is the most fatal infectious disease ever seen. Without treatment, 98% die. More than Ebola, more than smallpox. 1987, there were close to 17,000 deaths. 1990, 31,196 deaths were reported to the CDC. 1995, 1 in 9 gay men had been diagnosed with AIDS, 1 in 15 had died. And do you know what the United States government did? Nothing. They did nothing. Let me correct myself. The first case of AIDS was reported in 1981, and in 1983, Congress passed the first bill to fund AIDS research and treatment 2 years later. You see, during the early stages of the AIDS epidemic, the United States government, particularly under the Reagan administration, took very little action to address the crisis, leading to significant criticism for their perceived inaction and slow response, especially considering the disease was disproportionately impacting marginalized communities like gay men at the time. But That's why the United States government took little to no action to address the AIDS epidemic because it impacted gay men. The CDC reported that 100,777 people died from AIDS in the United States between 1981 and 1990. The epidemic hit male baby boomers especially hard. Tomorrow, we start with Reagan and his administration and their response, or lack of, to the AIDS HIV epidemic.